We're back with Doing Life with Maria and Chad.
I gotta say, I am so excited. I've been holding on to this story because I wanted to share it with you. The way the Doing Life with Maria and Chad podcast logo came to be, I did it with this guy. Well, that sounded weird. I did it with this guy online, and the story is just wait.
Waka, waka.
That's coming up today on the podcast.
Chad, there are a lot of people trying to fill their time because they have all this extra time on their hands because they're quarantined.
Yeah, I would say I'm one of those as well.
There is a guy, and I found his Instagram account, and it's called COVID-19 Replicas.
Okay, like the little fuzzy looking thing that you see on TV and on the internet. It's got like little balls sticking out of it, right? Or like knobby things.
Right. It's like an orb, and then there's little balls sticking out of it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And that is what the COVID-19 virus actually looks like.
Okay.
Well, this guy has decided he has taken round fruit or different vegetables and everyday objects, and he's making little COVID-19 replicas.
Yes.
And he has an entire Instagram account dedicated to it. And it all started, he had a little round, I'm guessing it was like a little round barrel cactus in his house. And he put pom-pom balls all over it. So it looked like the virus. He's done that with apples and oranges. And I think he did purple cauliflower. I mean, all this random stuff. It's awesome.
So you are a crafty person. Is this something that you're going to do to pass the time? Everybody's got the free time right now.
I totally thought about it.
Yeah.
I was like looking around my house going, okay, what do I have that I can make a little COVID-19 virus replica with? And I think I'm going to try it just for fun. I don't want to copy him because, that's not right, but I want to see what I have.
It's funny that you mentioned Instagram. We're still getting this podcast up and running and fighting with iTunes, trying to get accepted so that everybody can hear us on iTunes. You can hear us on Spotify. I think we're almost approved for Google Podcast. Pandora, on and on and on, trying to get so people can listen everywhere. And of course, here on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe and turn on your notifications. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the video. That being said, we were fighting. This was going back to last week. We were fighting with iTunes because we were trying to develop this logo that would be accepted under the terms of what iTunes needed for our picture to make sense, right? Every time we'd put it in, they'd say no. So you went to work and you're like, hey, can you work on this? And I was banging my head up against the wall, trying to Photoshop and make everything work, and everything just wasn't working. So I found this website called Fiverr. It's Fiverr with 2 R's, where you can hire people to do like graphic design.
Oh, yeah.
And I never even told you this story because I wanted to share it on the podcast because it was just a crazy... the way it all transpired was great. So I hired this guy. How much do you think it cost to have our logo that you see at the start of our podcast? You see it on all these social media platforms. How much do you think it cost us to have that made?
Oh my God, I have no idea.
I invested in us, Maria, a total of $7.
I was going to say $100. Thank God I don't owe you $50.
No, you don't owe me anything. This was way too much pleasure came from this because there's all these different people. You can hire them to do voiceover stuff on this website. You can hire them to do graphic design. You need a new logo. People have free time on their hands and they have computers. They'll do it for you. So the guy that I hired, I didn't know his name at the time. I just saw some of his work. If I'm pronouncing this right, his name is Beeb Kokhar. He is from Pakistan. And
really?
I may be on some sort of government list now because I had conversations with this guy from Pakistan. For 4 hours, I chatted with this guy back and forth. He gave me different versions. He asked me my favorite color. On and on and on, trying to get this logo to get approved by iTunes. And that is the logo that you now see. The reason I know his name is inside the app, we can actually, chat. But he's like, why don't we chat on Instagram? And I'm like, I don't care. So then I could see his Instagram profile of him standing in Pakistan, places that he goes. So we're not officially Instagram friends, but we messaged back and forth because it was much easier than the Fiverr platform. But yeah, I just thought that was so wild, and a great tip for anybody watching or listening today that needs work done, that doesn't want to spend a whole lot of money. I was pretty happy. I mean, I know you said you liked the way the logo turned out. I didn't tell you the story behind it, but what do you think now?
For $7, it's great.
For $7, it's great. Exactly. Yeah. It was funny because, he was like, he asked if he could crop it. I'm like, yeah, use your own judgment. I mean, he really did a great job. And honestly, in the middle of the conversation, because I've got the whole conversation saved on my Instagram messages, he's like, can I work for you forever? I'm like, I don't really, I don't know that I need you all that often, but I'll keep you in mind if another project like this comes up. And then he actually followed up over the weekend. He's like, do you have something else for me? Because, I'm sure in Pakistan, $7 is, actually, he gets $5 and then the website gets $2. So he made $5 for 4 hours of work.
I wonder if it was a kid. You know what I mean?
No, I can see a picture of him. Actually, you know what? Dan does the video for our podcast. I'm going to send him a picture. If he can post that up right now on YouTube, you can see what Beeb Kokhar looks like.
Aw.
Yeah, he's here's kind of a picture. I'll hold it up to the camera. There he is. That guy. Yeah. All right. So that's him. And so now you know when you see the logo, it was made in Pakistan for $7. How was your Memorial Day weekend? We didn't get a chance to get an update on. I know it was your husband's birthday. You guys went camping, right?
Yeah, we did. We went up to Elk Meadow Crossing, something like that. Anyway, it's up north Flagstaff area. And there was a whole bunch of us, about 25 of us, that all went up there. There is a cabin, and then we all brought trailers and tents.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it was really, really fun. I'm glad you brought it up because I learned something.
Okay, what'd you learn?
I have been cooking or making s'mores wrong my entire life.
What?
How do you think you make a s'more? And I know you make fun of the way I say that. It's s'mores, but
you're always. It sounds like you're asking for more s'mores. Some more. What I do. There's a couple of things to answer that question. I like my marshmallow burnt on the outside. So okay. I start with the marshmallow. I put it on a stick or whatever you got. And then I take graham cracker and chocolate and put it all together, like a sandwich. That's how I make a s'more. Right.
Okay. Most people do. Excuse me. I've been doing it that way my whole life. I'm 50 years old. For 50 years, I've been making my s'mores that exact way.
And now?
What I learned this weekend. So, the marshmallow sticks that you can buy? They're 2-pronged.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
So you put your marshmallow on the 2-prong metal stick. You cook your marshmallow however you like it. Burnt, lightly toasted, whatever. You have your graham cracker, your chocolate. You put your marshmallow on top and the other graham cracker on top, correct?
Yep.
What I learned this weekend is you squish it down, stick it between those 2 prongs. So the sandwich is between the 2 prongs, and then you heat up the chocolate over the fire.
That sounds like a death-defying act. Aren't you worried about it falling in the fire when it's in between those 2 prongs, or is there enough?
No, the whole sandwich is in between the 2 prongs.
Oh, okay.
So you have the graham cracker, the chocolate, the marshmallow, and the other graham cracker. You stick it all between the prongs, and then it's kind of actually hard to get in there. You kind of have to bend the little things a little bit.
Yeah.
And you cook it that way, and then it melts the chocolate, and all the marshmallow that's squished out, it cooks that too.
So I'm assuming you're bringing this up because this is a life hack that you're going to use going forward. You'll never do s'mores the same.
Well, what's funny is I kept saying, I have never done this before.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, okay, Maria, we get it. It was life-changing.
Well, that's a good tip. I'll have to try that. We can't do an open fire at our house now, but we have like a fire pit thing. I wonder if that could work for that. If there's
well, and that's what
heat.
we used. We used a gas fire. We weren't allowed to have.
Oh, okay.
Wood flame up in the mountains. So we just had those little propane gas places.
I'm assuming you didn't have internet up there and probably didn't follow any of, well, what there is of sports. Over the weekend, we had the match, which was the Tiger Woods and Tom Brady and Phil Mickelson and Peyton Manning thing. That was on TV. Did you guys see any of that? Because I know your husband's a big golf fan.
Yeah, we saw nothing. There was no internet up there. Nope.
Well, one thing that kind of has me excited about, they're talking about the NHL season and the NBA is getting close and Major League Baseball. Who knows what's going to happen? But I heard some audio I wanted to share with you and see your thoughts on it. So over in Germany, I don't know how to say the name of the league. Bird starts with a B. They don't have fans, so they've been selling cardboard cutouts of you. So like if you wanted to see yourself at a soccer game, you can buy a cardboard cutout of you, and so they show you in the stands.
That's awesome.
But that's not the best part. So
that's awesome.
They actually are giving us a taste of what the future is. When we get into the fall with NFL and even some of these sports leagues that are coming back, they have experimented with pumping in crowd noise. So this is over the weekend. There's if you can imagine in your head, the soccer team is about to score. This is what it sounds like.
He's got Poulsen on the left in space. It's Yusuf Poulsen. Still Poulsen into the area. And eventually, Müller can save. Still Poulsen and Savitzer. And this time it's 3. Well, they almost made a meal.
And there is not a person in the stands.
It sounds really good, actually. I expected it to be cheesy.
No, they kind of... Let's listen again.
And eventually, Müller can save. Still Poulsen and Savitzer. And this time it's 3. Well, they almost made a meal of it, Leipzig. They've got the goal in the end.
So I'm kind of excited when they first announced that, when the NFL comes back and they can't have people in the stands, if that's the case, that they were going to pump in this crowd noise. I guess Joe Buck was talking about how that could be one of the ways that, they'll make it seem more real. I didn't know if it would be cheesy, but yeah, this kind of makes me excited that it could be okay. One other thing I wanted to share before we wrapped up today, over the weekend, there was some good news from Kobe Bryant's family. Capri Bryant is his kid. And
isn't that the baby, right?
Yeah, 11 months old. They call her Cocoa Bean. And this is what happened over the weekend here. Let's see if I can get it to play for you. My computer has internet trouble. Bear with me. Here we go. That is the sound of Kobe Bryant's child's first steps.
That is so cute.
They caught that on video. So very cool. Do you remember Lucy's first steps?
Yeah, it was in our living room. She was young though. She was probably that age, 10, 11 months old.
Yeah.
It was on our house on Sheena.
I think Georgia was actually over a year. She had low muscle tone. She's a late bloomer. Now she's a distance runner, but it took her a while for her first steps. So that's some good news to end on today. We want to remind people that if you're listening on Spotify, make sure you subscribe. And then Maria, on YouTube, people can now subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment or like or whatever on YouTube if you look for Doing Life with Maria and Chad. Anything else to add today, Maria?
Nothing. Just love you guys. Thanks for following us.
Yes. And on Instagram, @Maria and Chad. We'll talk to you next time.